Good morning, viewers. Hello and welcome to the Morning News Show, where we bring you the latest headlines and insightful stories to kickstart your day. I'm Aakash Sharma and you are watching CNN-News18. First up on top of this bulletin, we're tracking some updates on growing drug menace in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, Jammu and Kashmir is facing a serious challenge with a sharp escalation in drug abuse, and this would certainly be one of the first challenges the newly elected government has on its hands. Now, from 289 cases in 2020 to 394 cases in 2022, the rise in cases is worrying, but the government says that this just means there is a better detection of drug addiction cases. Now, the last report of the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment placed in Parliament says that there are 10 lakh drug abusers in Jammu and Kashmir alone, and a majority of them consume heroin. Now, are women being increasingly used as drug mules? Are enforcement agencies less suspicious of women when it comes to drug peddling? Is this mere coincidence or a part of a larger conspiracy? Well, CNN-News18 traveled across Jammu and Kashmir to find out the answers to all of these unearthing questions, to unravel a web of deep-rooted nexus that finds its origin in Pakistan. Let's take a look first.
मैं यहाँ से अपनी गाड़ी में गई इस्लामाबाद, वहाँ पे जो भेजने वाले था पेडलर जो था, मैंने उसको गाड़ी की चाबी हाथ में थमा दी। मैंने वहाँ पे उससे 50 ग्राम लिए और मैंने गाड़ी उसको वहाँ पे छोड़ दी। वहाँ से मैं हेरोइन लाती थी। इवन कि मतलब कोई भी ऐसी चीज़ नहीं होगी, मतलब इतना ये इंसान को मजबूर करता है ना कि मतलब हेल्पलेस इंसान इतना हो जाता है।
मैं आपको पर्टिकुलरली तो नहीं बोल सकता हूँ किसी कारणवश, बट ये है कि हाँ, महिलाओं के ज़रिए जो गाँव आगे हैं, वहाँ से कहीं ना कहीं से महिलाओं के ज़रिए आता है पीछे। ड्रग्स पे जितना कंट्रोल हो सके, जितना नहीं पूरा कंप्लीटली कंट्रोल होना चाहिए।
Are women easy drug mules? Are agencies less suspecting of women peddling drugs? Mere coincidence or a conspiracy? The pattern is definitely concerning, one that our security agencies are not neglecting. CNN-News18 reported in early 2024 on Pakistan's role in pushing narcotics into Jammu and Kashmir, highlighting involvement of overground workers in recruiting for this trade.
चाहे वो बच्चे हैं, चाहे वो औरतें हैं, चाहे कैसे भी करते हैं, उनको पता है आपके कोई भी हमारा दाव पेच जो भी है, उन्होंने हम सब भी हथकंडे इस्तेमाल किए, लेकिन इंशाल्लाह वो फेल रहे। ये जो यूथ है तो इसको भी उकसाने का मसला है। कोई स्कूल से है, कोई कॉलेज से है, कोई कहीं से है, किसी को पता ही नहीं होता, सिर्फ पैसों की लालच है।
Despite visible law enforcement actions, drug syndicates continue adopting new methods. This time around, we visited areas like Rajouri, Poonch, Doga, Anantnag and Baramulla that are revealing a significant trend: increasing participation of women in the illegal narcotics trade.
मिलिटेंटों को और उनके भेजने वालों को ये मालूम है कि हिंदुस्तान से जम्मू कश्मीर को पाकिस्तान नहीं छीन सकता। इस सब के लिए यहाँ का आदमी चाहिए, और यहाँ का आदमी उनके साथ वही जा सकता है जो कहीं मजबूर होता है। मिलिटेंट हमारे लिए इतना नुकसानदेह नहीं है जितना हमारे घर का एक लड़का भी अगर इस नशे की लत में फंस गया तो वो बगैर गोली के पूरी फैमिली को मार सकता है।
महिलाएं एक आसान सा टारगेट है और वो ये काम करती हैं, मगर हमारी पुलिस और ये जो एजेंसियां हैं ये पूरी तरीके से चौकन्ना है।
Since 2023, 3,190 cases have been registered and 4,536 individuals arrested in Jammu and Kashmir's crackdown on illegal narcotics. To disrupt supply chains, authorities invoked the PIT-NDPS Act, lending to 463 detention orders in 18 months. In Rajouri district alone, 27 cases have been registered and 39 arrests made in 2024, with several cases involving women.
अगर करना वाले जो है या वहाँ उस साइड वाले वो तो ईज़िली लाते हैं, लेकिन वहाँ से जो फिर दूसरे डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में जो पेडलर्स लाते हैं, हम तो ठहरे छोटे मोटे करने वाले हैं, है ना, मतलब हम लाते 4 ग्राम 5 ग्राम, जो केजीज में लाते हैं। कॉमन सेंस की बात है, जब तक उनको वहाँ पे मतलब किसी का सपोर्ट नहीं होगा, किसी के साथ बातचीत नहीं होगी, इतना इजी तो है नहीं कि ये आटे का थैला तो नहीं है ना इंसान हाथ में लेके थमा के चलेगा। मेरे साथ भी ऐसे कुछ थे पुलिस के, मतलब जिनको पता था कि मैं करती हूँ और उनको पता था ये यहाँ से आती है जाती है रोज, मतलब इसको लाना होता है 50,000 का भी, 10,000 का भी, 20,000 का भी। हाँ, इट्स मतलब कॉमन थिंग है। मैं भी उनको मतलब इवन के मतलब कभी कभार ऐसा होता था, फिर वो बोलते थे नहीं अब आप हमारे साथ एक सौदा कर लो, अगर तुम महीने में मतलब 4 लाख 5 लाख का लाती हो, चलो हमें भी 50,000 दिया करो महीने में। Yes, exactly. हाँ बिल्कुल।
In past also we have done a lot of seizures. In past also 10 kg this narcotics was seized, and that was of high value. And recently also we have seized 9 kilograms of ganja that was being carried out from this border belt. So our efforts are on. And we have also seized as well as attached the properties of these narco smugglers. So we are acting tough against these narco smugglers, and our endeavor is that there should be zero tolerance for this narcotics. And our endeavor is that to get rid of these activities, and we are acting tough against these narco smugglers. So our efforts are on, and will ensure that no sort of these narcotics are used in this process. So our teams are out, and we are doing our best on this.
While the Indian Army conducts checks at border posts, the shortage of female personnel limits thorough searches of women. Police face similar challenges, unable to search every individual crossing over, creating vulnerabilities.
It is one established fact that Pakistan is pushing narcotics in India. We have seen the drone-based deliveries. We have seen the infiltration attempts where security personnel have recovered narcotics from the terrorists. And this particular area where I'm standing as of now, I'll try to give you a sense as to what is the kind of terrain that we have in this particular area. This is one remote area in Poonch, and I'm showing you the visuals of the villages here. When we talk about areas like Rajouri, Poonch and Doda, so we have seen an increased number of cases related to narcotics. Police is very much working on it. The different agencies are working on it, and not just these agencies, but now the Indian Army is also working to counter these attempts, and in fact the illicit trade that is happening in this particular area. The modus operandi has changed in the last few months, few years, and now there is a theory that not just men but women have been employed for the illicit trade, because we have seen a number of cases where in fact women have been arrested.
Sir, Aakash Sharma.
Each shipment includes a Pakistani contact who guides these mules through the chain. Participants in the delivery process remain isolated, hindering agencies from establishing connections. This compartmentalization makes it challenging for authorities to trace the entire network. Even then, agencies like the Anti-Narcotics Task Force have got more than a few successes.
Mostly we are dealing with the commercial quantity cases, big cases. We bust the entire network, forward as well as backward network involved in the case, and we proceed for the property attachment also. If the property is made out of the proceed of drugs, that is confiscated also. And the third mandate is awareness. We go to the different school, colleges and public gatherings, aware the public about the drug abuse, as the awareness is for prevention, and prevention is better than cure. And the last step is as far as the rehabilitation of the patient is concerned, we ask the public to share the name of the addicts.
Since 2023, J&K Police has seized assets worth rupees 10.36 crores in 43 cases, including houses, land and vehicles to cripple trafficking networks.
Along with terrorism, drug trafficking has emerged as one big threat, with agencies uncovering direct links between narcotics and terrorism. Despite constantly evolving tactics, law enforcement agencies are implementing strict measures against those who are involved to combat this growing menace. With cameraman Ravi Ranjan, this is Aakash Sharma from Jammu and Kashmir for CNN News 18.
Well, Aakash Sharma is now joining us on the broadcast with a deeper look at the narco-terror nexus and its implication for national security. A very good morning, Aakash. Well, Akash, the sharp rise in drug addiction cases highlights both an alarming trend and improved detection. But the numbers that we are tracking this morning point to a crisis demanding urgent attention. Talk to us about the drug nexus that has been impacting the national security, and what role does Pakistan play in this entire network?
You see, Kuhina, we have traveled in a number of districts in both Jammu and Kashmir, and we know that how incidents have happened, south of Pir Panjal, and especially, if we talk about areas like Rajouri, Poonch and Doda. So we know the kind of incidents that have happened. And it is not about south of Pir Panjal only. We have seen incidents in Kashmir as well. Since 2021, we have ceasefire understanding with Pakistan, where Pakistan is not involved in any sort of a border firing. But then also, they are very much involved in this sort of infiltration where they are sending terrorists, from the Pakistan to Indian boundaries. And in fact, these people are coming with drugs, narcotics. There are several sort of recoveries that have been made by Indian Army, and not just Indian Army, but Jammu Kashmir Police as well. And they have found that how they are carrying kgs of, narcotics, drugs in fact. And this particular, nexus, in fact, we have traveled in the areas. We have had a word with several individuals, who are either addicted or somewhere a part of this nexus. In fact, the police officials who are very much investigating the whole nexus, they are telling us that this works, as in cases like fruits and vegetables, where you have wholesaler, where you have a distributor, consumer. And this nexus is, not very easy to detect or not very easy to target, because as far as law enforcement agencies are concerned, so they have got several sort of rules, manuals, and they can only work on the basis of those rules and manuals. But in these cases, either they are using women for the transportation, or they are using, in fact, children in many cases. One official I had a word with, he was categorically saying that, even children are used for this, because as far as these packets are concerned, so they will make, small packets. They will then transport these packets via trucks or, vehicles from one place to another. That particular person will further transport that particular packet to some other third person. That third person will give it to fourth, fifth, sixth, and, so on. As far as villages ahead of AIOS, are concerned, so we know that how Indian Army is very much guarding these villages. But in fact, Indian Army has got shortage of, women personnel, and this is one big challenge in this particular case, where we have seen that how, drugs are coming from villages, forward villages to the hinterland, and how people are, getting addicted to it.
Right, Akash, I'd like you to stay with us on the broadcast, as joining us live today is SP Ved, the former Director General of Police of Jammu and Kashmir, a seasoned law enforcement officer with decades of experience in tackling the region's most pressing security challenges. A very good morning, Mr. Ved. Mr. Ved, let's begin with talking about detection versus the growth of the entire problem. While detection seems to have improved on the ground, the number of drug abusers in Jammu and Kashmir is now becoming concerning. Is the rise in cases purely a result of better detection, or there are other underlying causes or reasons at play at this point of time?
Good morning. There is no doubt about increased number of detections. In fact, police and other security forces are working very hard to crack down on the drug nexus. But then, it's not very simple situation. We all know how deep state of Pakistan is I think, one of the biggest drug peddler of the world. And it has been changing tactics. I have been watching for last more than 3 decades. Initially, recall in 90s they were using trans-border smugglers on the border to smuggle in as many drugs as possible. Then they started in the 90s with each group, of terrorists. They would ensure that every infiltrating group carries some amount, few packets of heroin and other drugs, including fake currency. That was the pattern in 90s and early 2000. And with new invent of new technology like drones, now it has complicated a situation even further. Today, with the use of drones, you can drop packets of drugs quite deep within the territory, not necessarily only on the border, and then get in touch with the concerned person within our territory who are on their payrolls to pick up the consignment. So this is a war which I personally feel only police cannot fight, and we need the cooperation of everyone in this, including the civil society, the parents, the maybe medical fraternity, your judiciary, everyone on board. Because the way things are going on, I've been watching. Initially, Kashmir was getting increasing numbers in the early 90s and early 2000. How we started drug detection center in police control room Srinagar and then in Jammu. But increasingly over the years, even Jammu region, as I was seeing the report of Aakash, how Rajouri, Poonch and as while Doda district people are getting, they are being used. And most disturbing is the use of more women and children. Now, generally there is a tendency in the checking points of the police to avoid women frisking, because not every place you have a woman police. Children you generally don't suspect. So the drug peddlers and the drug mafia people are devising new ways of avoiding detection. And the way we have seen Udta Punjab, I think days are not far off when even Jammu Kashmir will face a situation like that. And there is a the hate economy which Pakistan's deep state is propagating across the border. That is making use of every means to destroy the youth of Jammu and Kashmir and the rest of India. So when you have abode policy of destroying India's youth, destroying India by any means, whether it is through fake currency or drugs, and this is how they are generating funds for running terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir and rest of India. So I think Pakistan's deep state, we need not only a massive program to enlist people's cooperation, educate them how the bad effects of drugs can destroy your life, and elicit the cooperation of the parents and teachers, because I'm seeing many of the young boys and girls, they are made drug addict through the process of offering small doses of these through various means outside schools and colleges. And I think that is the area where we need to focus on.
Right, Mr. Ved, I'd request you to stay with us on the broadcast as we are getting another report on this. In the picturesque Jammu and Kashmir, a new saga is unfolding where Jammu and Kashmir police have launched a massive operation against the creeping menace of narcotics. A massive scale operation is actually underway where the police are now cracked down on narco-terror Nexus as well. Here is how the Jammu and Kashmir police are turning the tide into this battle. Let's take a look at this special report by Ieshan Wani.
40 crore worth of properties seized across Kashmir, 2,000 cases registered, 3,000 narcotic dealers and smugglers arrested in the last 2 years. After the abrogation of Article 370, the Jammu and Kashmir Police, along with security agencies, have launched a massive operation against drugs coming in from across the border. Police are investigating an insidious link between narcotics and terrorism.
Narcotics has become a prominent issue for some time here, and Jammu Kashmir Police has taken it on mission mode to exert a kind of crackdown on all these kind of things. Jammu Kashmir Police has started using more of a legal provisions to take care of all these kinds of violations of law. And if we could see, for last 2 years this thing has intensified, and it could be appreciated that we have lodged more than 2,000 FIRs, and in which about more or less 3,000 people got arrested.
In this border village of Uri, 13 people have been booked and arrested under the Prevention of Illicit Trafficking in Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act. As per the NIA's investigation, drugs like heroin are being pushed into Kashmir from Pakistan, and the money is generated to fund terror outfits in Kashmir.
This is one such property which has been attached and clearly been written that no one to purchase it, and it is not to be sold, and owner cannot lease it, nor can he transfer it, or he cannot create any third party interest, because it has been attached after narcotics was found in one of these persons living here inside this house.
In Baramulla alone, 192 drug peddlers have been arrested and 140 cases have been registered under the NDPS Act since January this year.
We have a very synergetic relationship between police and the Indian Army, who man the line of control. So the line of control is monitored 24/7 for any sort of movement that might happen either on land or in case the other side wants to drop in the consignment via drones. So everyone is very alert. The population that lives along or near the line of control, it also is under constant monitoring.
The local populace, tired of the drug menace, has actively begun participating in bringing these drug peddlers to book. Tips from locals have often led to significant breakthroughs.
कुछ सालों से जो पुलिस ने एक्शन किया है, हम बहुत ही मशकूर हैं समाजी तौर पे इन्होंने जो एक्शन किया है यहाँ पे, उसमें कमी ज़रूर आई है, और इसके लिए जो कानून है वो भी सख्त है। कई प्रॉपर्टियाँ इसमें जब्त की गई हैं, कई FIR दर्ज की गई हैं।
हम बहुत ही शुक्रगुजार जम्मू कश्मीर पुलिस के हैं कि जो ड्रग्स के खिलाफ जो भी कार्रवाइयाँ कर रहे हैं, इस मुबारकबाद के मुस्तहिकम वो हैं कि अगर वो ऐसे लोगों पे कार्रवाई करें, और करते भी हैं, तो ये तो बहुत ही अच्छा कदम है, और उम्मीद करते हैं कि इससे भी बढ़ चढ़ के वो इस चीज़ पे सख्ती करें।
In the bordering areas, one of the challenges is to stop the flow of drugs to other areas, and to ensure that J&K Police lays nakas like these behind me. You will see in the Uri sector, where J&K Police, near the line of control, close to the line of control actually, is stopping vehicles. They keep on receiving inputs from different agencies, and also generate their own input regarding people and their involvement in cases of drugs, body frisking, vehicle checking, and these activities keep on happening and taking place in these bordering areas to ensure that the drug flow is stopped, and all those who are involved in this trade are booked. And there are sometimes sniffer dogs also involved, along with the other forces, who try to ensure that before any narcotics goes out from places like these, it is stopped from ruining lives of youngsters. With Bashir Loon, Ieshan Wani from Uri for CNN-News18.
Well, Aakash Sharma and Mr. SP Ved continue to stay with us on the broadcast, sharing more of their expertise. But also joining us on the broadcast is Ieshan Wani from the ground in Jammu and Kashmir with updates on the police crackdown. A very good morning, Ieshan. Ieshan, with 10 lakh drug abusers in Jammu and Kashmir, as per the Ministry of Social Justice, the fight against this menace is intertwined with cross-border threats. But are there any specific areas on the ground or districts emerging as hotbeds or hot pockets for narco-terror activities?
Well, yes, there are certain areas, particularly in districts which are close to the line of control, where this trade has flourished in the past, and there have been families after families and generation after generation who have been engaged in with this kind of business. Why? Because there are certain villages which are ahead of the fence, and many of them have been involved in these activities. There was a larger plan that the Indian Army, along with the security agencies, had to relocate those people who were actively involved in drug smuggling and also getting weapon into the Indian territory. The plan was to basically shift them from ahead of the fence to back on the fence. The plan is in planning, and whether or not that happens, that's for the policymakers to decide. But this is somewhere where people have been by and large very concerned, and that's prompting the police action. Why is police going hard on it? Because they're also receiving an overwhelming support from the society. You have religious leaders, you have the political parties who even had to mention that they will be curbing drug abuse in Kashmir and Jammu as well if they are elected to power. And that's why you saw that several political parties had this as part of their manifesto. But yes, it has increasingly going towards the younger generation who are ruining the lives, not only their families, but also of the younger generation. And that's why the concern was that the population wanted an action from the police. And that's why you're seeing that properties worth 40,000 crore just in Kashmir Valley has been seized. There are several cases that police is now cracking down on and receiving inputs. There are general knockouts which have been laid. Remember, there has been some improvement in the security situation that is also leading police to now focus on this kind of challenge because this money is flowed in and used for international activities, and several times the youngsters ruin their lives, and particularly in the line of control area where it reaches at a small amount, and then when it's transported to Srinagar or any other city and beyond Jammu and Kashmir as well, it gives them high money. And that's why this is a sort of process where you earn a lot of money by just trading this drug out of Kashmir and also to some areas by selling it to the youngsters.
Right, Ieshan, you've been rightly pointing out the larger impact of this entire nexus is the younger generation and younger adults in the valley. But Mr. SP Ved also stays with us on the broadcast. Mr. Ved, you've been talking about the role of cross-border threats, and you quite rightly mentioned that the drug menace is pretty complicated situation and closely linked to cross-border threats. But what are some of the biggest challenges that the law enforcement agencies actually face while tackling the drug trade in Jammu and Kashmir, especially given the complex dynamics involved?
See, certain changes in the law are required. There is a particular quantity which is mentioned, and drug peddlers are very, very shrewd while distributing drugs which is consumed within Jammu and Kashmir. They ensure that quantity below that level, I think about 10 gram is used. So that they can escape the dragnet of law. I take advantage. Similarly, let me mention here, when I was DGP in 2016 to 18, I tried to, in fact, motivate my officers and the civilian population to launch a war on drugs. Today, the requirement, I think that's what tremendous work is being done by Jammu and Kashmir Police, including the Army. There were some difficulties the Army was facing on the border checkposts. So that time we provided them women SPOs for frisking of women if there are anybody crossing in that border areas. Most actually vulnerable, as Ieshan was mentioning, are the border districts, Kupwara, district of Handwada, district of Udi area, all these Keran, Karna sectors. So these are the areas in Kashmir and Rajouri, Poonch area and border districts of the international border like Samba, Kathua and Jammu. Now, these people in these areas, there are areas where they have to go for their farming, which is they have to cross the checkpost. So they need to be frisked. Once these drugs make actually the entry inside, then it is very, very difficult to detect unless you have hard so many of them actually end in international market like Mumbai or Delhi, and they are transported on trucks which normally fly from Kashmir Valley to Delhi and Mumbai. So I think these are the areas. Let me mention here international trade which was going on between India and Pakistan. I remember when it was DGP, 70 packets of heroines were actually brought in that truck. So Pakistan will do anything to do. We need to launch a war on this and enlist the cooperation of everyone in the society.
Right, Mr. Ved, thank you so much for bringing in all those details. Well, challenges, while we are already discussing about the challenges in combating drug trafficking, I'd like to bring in Aakash. Aakash, what is the scale of the current ongoing operation in the valley?
You see, both police and army are involved in the kind of operations, and Ieshan was pointing out. But, you know, if we talk about challenges, so you see, when we talk about the fencing, the AIOS system where we have Indian Army deployed, so there is a shortage of women personnel. And in fact, you know, I remember, I had a word with one brigadier of Indian Army, and he was categorically mentioning that when it is about women personnel in Indian Army, so CMP is there, and we have limited number of women personnel even in CMP, that is military police. So, in fact, SP Ved was, mentioning about that sort of challenge. Agencies have multiple challenges, but as far as, forward villages are concerned, so this is one big challenge. Also, when, drugs are coming to your hinterland, so even if you have the hard intelligence, it is close to impossible to, track that particular movement, because these, peddlers are very smart. They are distributing the drugs into packets, and then these packets are, further distributed. So there are multiple challenges, but yes, our agencies are working on it.
Right, Aakash, Mr. SP Ved and Ieshan Wani, I'd like to thank all of you for getting your valuable insights. The drug crisis in Jammu and Kashmir demands urgent action, as the future of our country is at a huge risk. We'll continue to get you all the latest news and updates on this report, but right now we're slipping into a very short break. Stay tuned, we'll be back.